So now I'm very excited about the first session for today, and these sessions for this morning before morning tea are about local understanding. So I'd love to introduce to you Jarna Kendle from the Northern Agricultural Catchment Council to talk about now or never. Overview. Thanks, Jarna. Oh, and Kari, sorry, and Kari, they're surprised. Hands together for Kari and Jarna.
Morning, I'm very nervous. my name's Jarna Kendle and my Wadri name is Thala Namanmara, which is messy Mallee Fowl, which is quite appropriate. And these two guys are our mascots for our Mallee Fowl project, Mal and Lee. Could be the other way, not sure. Okay, before I start, I would like to acknowledge the Southern Yamatji people whose land we meet on today and pay my respects to their elders past, present and future. I would also like to acknowledge the unique natural resource management skills that Aboriginal people have in supporting our region's natural assets. So the Mallee Fowl project is a 5-year project and it's under the NLP, which I'm sure quite a few of you are familiar with. I'd also like to give a shout out to Jessica Stingemore, whose hard work and effort got this project off the ground in the beginning. Jessica has left us at NAC now and is working for Charles Darwin on working for Bush Heritage as the reserve manager at Charles Darwin. So thank you, Kari. Yeah, that's my acknowledgement slide. Sorry, I didn't change it. NAC works with many partners on the Mallee Fowl project, and without them, we wouldn't be able to do the great work that we do. So I just wanted to take a second to thank you all. To our biodiversity team. So we have Kane, Kari and myself on our team, and we work on many projects, including protecting WA's black cockatoos, rescuing the Foots grevillea, securing the future of regionally extinct mammals in the Northern Ag region, and of course, now or never, supporting communities to save Mallee Fowl. So know your Mallee Fowl. This is a Mallee Fowl, and I'm not sure how familiar all of you will be with them, but just in case, here are a few fun facts. They're about the size of a domestic chicken, they have large feet for digging, a temperature sensitive snoot, and incredible camo. They're pretty amazing, and I could go on, but I won't. An overview of our region. So we are in the Northern Agricultural Region, or as we call it, the NAR. The NAR covers around 7.5 million hectares, including the Hoopman and Brollis Islands, where we're going tomorrow. And we have a total of 15 shires. As you can see on this slide, it starts just north of Perth, and we continue up the coast to just north of Kalbarri. It then stretches east and pretty much follows the pastoral boundary all the way down to Killarney, Dalwhinnie area. Our region is also recognised as an international biodiversity hotspot. It is Kalbarri's super diverse and also really important Mallee Fowl habitat. It's also one of our most dreaded monitoring areas. The main industry in our region is agriculture, in particular broadacre cropping. So this means that a lot of our stakeholders are farmers. Our region also faces many environmental issues from this large-scale clearing. We have quite a bit of salinity, habitat loss, loss of connectivity and erosion. So to the Greening Australia map. This map was produced by Greening Australia as a Gundua-funded project, and we use it to help identify important Mallee Fowl areas to work within. Greening Australia used the proximity of valuable habitat to known Mallee Fowl neighbourhoods and Mallee Fowl sightings since 1990 to create this map. And as you can see, it identifies target areas on a scale of importance, which is really handy when dealing with such large landscapes. And the blue areas highlight the highest priority areas for us. So assessing our projects. When we receive an expression of interest, we have a few steps to follow before we approve it. We talk to the landholder and establish what they want to achieve with their project. And then we'll do a desktop study, which includes a nature map search, Aboriginal heritage check. We have a look at the Gundawah map and we see how this project will fit in with any of the other projects in the region. If this is all good, then we head out and do a site assessment and we use a basic land for wildlife template and we record soil type, flora, fauna, weeds, pests, and any other issues that could impact on the works. And then back in the office, we have a chat and then we either approve or not and generate a management agreement. So what are our project deliverables? Our on-ground work includes fencing and revegetation. And in 5 years, we hope to have fenced off and protected 1,996 hectares of Mallee Fowl habitat and revegetated 750 hectares. Community engagement is a large part of this project. And we achieve this through return to country events, one-on-one training and awareness workshops. We have a target of 500 hectares for pest control and 20 fauna surveys and annual biodiversity grants. Just while we're on this slide, we're still on it. This is an image that we caught at one of our community engagement events of a Mallee Fowl at the Canna Reserve. We're pretty excited. Fencing and re-veg. Over the last 3 years, we've worked with 11 landholders across 14 properties to deliver this incentive component. And as you can see, the distribution of these projects are quite widely spaced across our region. And to date, we've revegetated 400 hectares of our 750 hectare target. And we've fenced off 1,125 hectares of our 1,996 hectare target. So we're well on track to achieve our project outcomes. Community engagement. One of the major strengths of Now and Ever is its ability to engage with the community and provide groups with the ability to deliver positive environmental outcomes. We partner with many stakeholders to deliver this component, including Bush Heritage, Department of Biodiversity, Conservation and Attractions, Buddy Mire community and the Nunda community. Return to country events have been a huge success with both Buddy Mire and Nunda taking up the opportunity to deliver on country events. Kane and I were lucky enough to be able to join 2 of the Nunda events at Urardi Station. And the last time we went, we all visited an inactive mound and had the chance to talk to the kids about how awesome Mallee Fowl are. So there's a photo of us up there on the mound. And we also got to snack on bush lollies on our walk-in, which was pretty great. We have held 3 one-on-one training opportunities, and that's enabled participants to learn a range of natural resource management skills like flora identification and fauna monitoring. And our community engagement workshops have also been successful, and we've held a total of 7 of those, including a bio blitz at Canna Reserve, photography workshops, black flanked rock wallaby kayak tour, and some revegetation planning works. To pest control. So pest control is another aspect of our project, and to achieve this, we collaborate with the Northern Biosecurity Group. This works really well as they're able to coordinate their baiting program with their landholders across our region or in our targeted region. And our project supplies them with a small portion of funding, which helps their much larger project. Fauna surveys, the bit we love every year. We conduct fauna surveys as part of our the national monitoring program. And with our funds, we help DBCA and Bush Heritage to monitor Mallee Fowl in the region. I've helped DBCA monitor Mallee Fowl at both Kalbarri and Hidden Valley for the last couple of years. And monitoring is my favourite time of year because I get to get out of the office. LiDAR is another project we've recently started. We did some LiDAR. And another project we recently started is the Adaptive Management Predator Experiment. So as part of this project, LiDAR was flown across 2 properties, being Licata and Badger. And we're working with DBCA on the AMP project. They're managing Licata and we have Badger. So last year, Kane and I headed out to ground truth the LiDAR that was done and to monitor the known mounds. And this year we're heading out to install the cameras. So Badger has plenty of mounds, and last year Kane and I monitored 94 of them and 11 were active, and 40 of the mounds that we monitored were LiDAR points, and 4 of those were new active mounds, which was pretty exciting. I can't wait to get back out there this season as we've had such incredible winter rainfall, and I'm hoping this means baby Mallee Fowl. So I'm going to hand over to Kari now, who is new to our team, but also a very valued member of it.
Hi everyone. Sorry, give a hey fever. If you haven't met me already, my name's Kari. I'm new to NAC, so I started earlier this year as their Biodiversity Project Officer. And I'm new to the region, so I'm originally from Mandurah. Spent most of my life down there and in the South Coast, so still learning a lot about the region, but it's been a bit of a really nice adventure so far. So in my role, I assist Jarna and Kane with the delivery of our 4 key biodiversity projects, which Jarna has just talked about. So with the Carnaby's cockatoos, the Mallee Fowl, Footscravilla, and the Securing Futures project with the Australian Wildlife Conservancy. So I have a particular focus on the Carnaby's project and the nest monitoring we do up in the Kalbarri, on the Murchison River. But for the Mallee Fowl project, I'm responsible for the distribution of devolved grants, so with the biodiversity community grants to the community, as well as the mound monitoring and conducting site visits for revegetation and fencing on properties. So later on this month, I'll be going up my first Mallee Fowl monitoring trip with NAC, which I thought was at Badger, but this may have changed. So my field experience in Mallee Fowl began much further south in the Great Southern region. So last year in October, I went down, as I was finishing my final year of uni, I went down to Bush Heritage's Redmort Reserve in Monjabup, about 130 k's northeast of Albany, and Liz Kinkton was actually there, which is pretty cool. And so despite being one of Bush Heritage's smaller reserves at about 1,000 hectares, it's actually known as a hotspot for Mallee Fowl, tentatively a hotspot, with 13 of 42 mounds found to be active on it. So a group of us volunteers and leaders went out to collect data on Mallee Fowl mounds in the reserve. This is usually a couple of long days of bashing through the bush and checking yourself for ticks. So it's a lot of good fun, and you do get to have some memorable encounters of wildlife that you wouldn't normally be able to have if you can't access those areas unless you're monitoring. So I didn't see any Mallee Fowl on that trip, but there were signs that they were there through eggshells, feathers and tracks. So that was pretty cool. On Redmort, we actually also came across a mega mound, which from memory, I think was about 15 or 20 meters in diameter. I could be wrong. But so it's likely that this mound had been used by Mallee Fowl for generations, because they have a tendency to reuse older mounds rather than just create a new one. But with mounds this size, we kind of wondered if it had been the creation of an ancestral giant Mallee Fowl. So during the Pleistocene, there was a genus of Mallee Fowl known as Progura, and they were about 3 times the size of today's Mallee Fowl. And although looking at their anatomy, they lack the specialised digging adaptations that current Mallee Fowl have, but it's still possible that they had the ability to create mounds and incubate their eggs through the environment. So perhaps it's still possible that they did create them. I know that I'd like to find out more about these birds. They went extinct about 45,000 years ago. So it would be pretty cool to see a giant Mallee Fowl, but I don't think they're around anymore. However, back to NAC and our biodiversity grants and the Now or Never project. So through funding from the National Landcare Program, NAC is able to financially support community groups and government or Aboriginal land managers with projects and on-grant action supporting public awareness and conservation of Mallee Fowl and the associated species, the black-flanked rock wallaby. The grants work on a first in, first served basis, and they can provide groups up to $5,000 to support their activities. So the projects that could be funded include those involving pest and weed control, habitat augmentation and re-veg, conducting flora and fauna surveys, and engaging with the community, such as through events and communications materials. So we like to use local provenance methods for planting. So this means sourcing seed from plants in the area, and this just allows the genetic integrity of that group to be preserved. So you want to have seeds that contain the alleles or the genes that are specifically adapted to that local environment. So you don't want to be sourcing something from Albany when you're going to try to grow it in Geraldton, because they might not be locally adapted. So if you're part of a community group or land management authority and you have a project idea, please don't hesitate to contact me on my email there. I know it is in white now. Before it was a funny colour and you couldn't see it. Please don't hesitate to contact me on my email here, and I will talk you through the guidelines and application process. And yeah, it's a good idea actually to go and jump on our Navi's website, and you can create a map on there, and it also allows any registered Aboriginal sites to be identified, which could be quite important for your project. So far, we've funded projects such as the Mallee Fowl Training Muster by the WA Mallee Fowl Recovery Group, the Moore Catchment Council's Last Stand event, which was run last week, and we're also supporting the Conservation Council of WA with biodiversity conservation in the Yarra Yarra Biodiversity Corridor. So this corridor is acts as a carbon sink, which is vital for carbon mitigation, and it forms valuable habitat for threatened species such as the Mallee fowl and the black flank rock wallaby. So thank you for listening. And does anyone have any questions?
Come back over here. We've got plenty of time. Come back over here, you two. So questions. I know someone's got a question. There we go. Down the front, please, Kane. Jarna, back up here, please. Karen, Jarna did a beautiful.
Oh, yeah. That they're here. I think they're I did read an article saying that they were in, I'm not sure, but maybe towards Esperance Way. So kind of assuming fossils are pretty rare to find. So I kind of extrapolated that to Monjabup, but who knows? Wait, sorry, what was that one? Oh, okay. Yeah, so probably ranged this far. So yeah, awesome. All right, cheers.
There we go. The fencing projects that you're working on, is that herbivore exclusion, predator exclusion?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it's really just to keep sheep out of the sheep and stock.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So the focus has been on sheep and stock exclusion from habitat areas, but we are open to options for feral animal exclusion from habitat as well.
Yeah, if landholders want to go that way, we're happy for them to modify the fence, but as long as it meets the minimum standards that we require. Yeah.
There's one just down front. What was the Last Stand event about?
That's actually a really cool event. It was run in Moora by Moore Catch, and it's about the plight and the delights of the wheat belt woodlands, I think. So it looks like a really good event, and it's just like 5 days. And they've got like a lot of information stands, and they have like tree giveaways, and they brought a lot of plants in to like show you what all the gums look like. And I think they also had like bushwalks and interaction with the local Noongar people as well. But that's what I know so far. I unfortunately couldn't go, but I would have liked to. You would? Yeah, you would. Yeah, so Northern Noongar, yeah.
What was the pest control you were referring to?
So the Northern Biosecurity Group do a lot of baiting. Typically foxes is what we're, and it's really focused around that Kalbarri sort of area, yeah.
You talked about with seeding
and bringing in local province from plants from around Geraldton and not from down near Albany, for example. But there is talk about, you know, combining seed from different regions to sort of see how they can adapt to climate change. Is that something that you're looking at?
Not at the moment. That's the first that I've heard of it. We just like to recommend that seeds collected locally and grown and put back into that area. But yeah, would like to have some information from you on that if you've got some. Yeah.
Please put your hands together again for Jarna and Carrie.